What's going on, guys? So I'm back with a new video, and you guys probably wondering why I have a cap on. That's because I have oil in my hair, so I look kind of weird. But basically, this video is going to be one of my versions of how to prepare for the SAT in a day/week. But this one's going to be in a month because the August SAT just passed, and now the next SAT that everyone's focused on is the October SAT, right? And you have roughly a month to prepare. It's September basically, and October's SAT. So the question is, how will you prepare for the SAT in a month? Because my previous video talked about in a week and a day, and we all know that you cannot really study for the SAT to get your maximum score in a day, nor can you really in a week, even if you grind it out. But in a month, you can really prepare for the SAT effectively and set yourself up for a very high score. So the breakdown of how to study for the SAT within that month is, first, for the first week and a half, study your weakest subject. So for me, it was reading. Then for the second week and a half, study your strongest subject, which is math for me. And then the last week, you want to alternate and study both topics. You want to take a practice test. You want to take Khan Academy practices that have both math and reading on it. Like, it'll give you a math practice and it'll give you a reading practice. And you want to also make sure you take study notes that you've taken on math problems or reading problems, because that week leading up to the SAT, you want to make sure you go over all of your notes that you ever took on the math section and the reading section, because then it'll be fresh in your head when you sit down and take the SAT. Because when you sit down and take the SAT, you can't use notes, you can't do any more practice. It's showtime, right? So you want to make sure you remember all your formulas. You want to make sure you remember all the grammar rules within your head. And by studying both math and reading within that last week, you can really set yourself up for success. Now, one thing I want to emphasize, right, is you don't want to do your heavy studying in that last week. If anything, you want to do some light study, maybe 1 or 2 practice tests. But for the first 2 weeks that you're studying your weak subject, you want to heavy study that weak subject. You do your Khan Academy practices on it, right? Do your due diligence and take a practice test at the end of that week and a half. Then for the second week and a half, study the other subject that you didn't study. And at the end of that, take another practice test. And you want to see improvement from that first practice test to the second one, because obviously if the first one you've only studied 1 section, but the second practice test you've taken, you studied 2 sections. And then that last week that you have, because this will be like the 4th week, or the 3 weeks just finished, so now it's the 4th week heading in. You want to study maybe math Monday, and then like English Tuesday, and then math Wednesday, and then English Thursday. And you want to take a practice test like 1 or 2 days before you sit down for the actual SAT, because at that point you know where you really are in terms of like SAT test taking. And if you do make a couple of mistakes, you can see, all right, I have to make sure I watch out for these mistakes when I sit down Saturday to take the SAT. And that's really the best approach to studying for the SAT within a month. Because honestly, I studied for the SAT within a month, and a lot of people can. Like, a month is plenty as long as you do 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours a day, or especially the last week. Last week, you don't want to skip any day. But maybe for the first week and a half, you could like skip 1 or 2 days, as well as for the second week and a half, skip 1 or 2 days. But ideally, you don't want to. And if you do skip days, you better make it up on the other days, because you have to study. You have a month. You want to study as much as you can so you can get the best score you want. And that way you don't have to take the SAT again. My last tip is, even if the October SAT is your best SAT and you get like a 1500 and it's your first SAT and you don't want to take any more SATs, you're done with the SAT, you got the score you wanted, take it again. Okay? You don't have to send all your SAT scores to college. A lot of people don't understand that. You don't have to send all your SAT scores to college. You pick which scores you want to send. So if you take it a second time, colleges don't know you took the SAT twice unless you super score your test. So you literally are losing nothing by taking the SAT again, and you only can gain, because you never know, you may get a higher score. So make sure you take the SAT twice. And that's basically how to study for the SAT in a month. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Peace.